like our New Year's Eve extravaganza again. This will post after New Year's
On the
Eve.
4th.
Yeah. So good time to celebrate with everybody. Yeah. So we just put took some logistics because Heidi and I put our baby to bed, and she may start screaming and yelling at any point. And we're just gonna let her go because
this is
the
more
podcast.
important. This is more important.
You just close that door behind you. That should drown out the noise.
Yeah. Turn on the leaf blower and little white noise. It'll be fine.
It's a couple weeks old. You can cry it out.
Yeah. What do you feel about? Are you? There's that's a hotbed topic. Cry it out. Do you let your kids cry it out?
No, not fully. No.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
We're not doing that. They say, about Moms on Call. That's the schedule we're doing. Did you do that? Did you do that?
My friend did. Did. And I mean, to a T.
Wait, I can't hear you very well. Can you turn it up? Yeah. Your friend did it and what?
You gotta talk right into this.
I gotta talk right into this. My friend did it and had a lot of success.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm just not that scheduled and organized.
Well, I'm not either. But
I don't know what that is. What's Moms on Call?
I mean, it tells you when to nurse. It tells you everything.
Yes, but I'm doing the Heidi version of it, which is just no naps longer than 2 hours, and then basically wake windows of like 30 minutes or whatever. But we don't do like at this time. We haven't been doing that. So, but just we both don't do well at all without sleep. So we've just been trying to do everything we can to get the most sleep at night.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
Not going to that part.
Good luck.
She's already doing 2 4-hour stretches a night, which we went to the pediatrician today, and Andrew's like, yeah, she's only doing 4 hours at a time. She's like, no, that's really good for like a month-old baby.
Heidi has this thing where she thinks I present us.
Yes, we should talk about
no
this.
Matter how I ever present us to the outside world, whether it's my mom or to doctors or to neighbors, whoever it is, I either present it it's going like way too horribly for her, or I make it way too rosy of a picture. I can never present it the way that it's actually going.
If things are going well, like right now, he's got a very humble thing where he's like, "Oh, it's okay, our baby's okay, everything's all right." And
I've never said our baby's okay.
But basically, and then if I'm going through something and it's really hard, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, she's doing so great. She's really thriving." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm struggling." So yeah.
It's hard to be accurate. It fluctuates all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, that happened at the doctor today where I was like, I do like to present it. I like to say, especially when it's an expert, I like to just be the idiot and let them so in case thing. So I go, "Oh, it's our first time. We've never." Well, how do you hold this baby? I don't know. So then they we'll explain it to you and we'll give you all the good tips, Well, but then sometimes she gets annoyed because then it's like, we know how to do. Why are you asking that? I know it's your first time, but we know more than you're.
But what I realize is that for you, this really is. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never done this before. I know a little. I was a nanny for 8 years, so a lot of this stuff I do know. And so then he's in there saying, "We don't know what the hell we're doing," I'm like, I know some stuff,
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's kind of funny.
That's really good.
That's where we're at.
Well, Erin and I, before we had kids, I think we both kind of felt like, because I grew up with family of 7, a lot of younger kids, cousins. So we were kind of like, oh, Johnny's familiar with babies, is around babies all the time. Yeah. And then when we had our own, it was like, wow, Johnny's the idiot and Erin is just a natural somehow.
Mother's instinct,
I guess,
kicked in.
I like how you didn't argue when I said Johnny's an idiot.
There's very little pushback from anybody.
We learned a lot about each other.
His parents were here the other night, and we had a really fun time. But he put Ginger in the bouncer, and she almost fell back onto the fireplace. And I was so tired, and I just was like, was like, don't do it like that again. And he was like, okay. And I was like, do you hear me? Like that came out of my, because I was so tired. And like, that's been haunted because I don't normally snap like that. But when you're tired, it was
Wait,
just like,
you were saying that to Andrew or Andrew's dad?
no, not his dad. Oh God, his dad could have thrown
said,
her. I
hey,
wouldn't have said anything.
Take it easy with my daughter, you moron.
No, but he almost dropped her under the brick, and I was like, "Do you hear me?" Like I said that, and I wouldn't normally be so. Did you guys find that, like when you're tired, like maybe not being as no,
for sure, it's not just a tired thing. Like it's my innate
it's
like
personality
my child, you know, like it's the protective nature in me that it just seems very natural that you would listen to me, make sure she doesn't fall onto the bricks and
right. Okay, good. I feel better. I surprised it came out of me and I had no control over it. It was crazy.
Sure.
Yeah,
you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn a lot.
You're gonna get over that quick.
A lot of things are gonna come out of you, so to speak.
But other than that, it's been pretty good.
It has been.
It's a lot of fun, you know.
She's pretty great.
Yeah, we read to her, even though, you know. Did you read to your babies right away?
Oh yeah.
Totally.
They're not following.
So good for them. No, but they're they're listening to your voice and they're picking up a lot. Yeah, for sure. And
do you think it makes that big? We're doing it, and I also think it's good. But do you think it makes that big of a difference if you're reading is Spot in the closet, is Spot under the rug, versus talking about the neighbors and whether their marriage is okay? Like, is there a difference?
I mean, I think for me, just the routine, like the bedtime routine of reading a book, and then you know, Ginger will get used to that, and then she, equates that to okay, it's sleepy time now. Right. But as far as like the talking, I don't know. I teach high school kids. I don't know anything about the littles, but it's all good. I'm sure it's all good.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things too, like because they'll do studies and they'll say, you know, kids who are read to from an early age have this literacy or go to college or whatever. Yeah. But it also is like, it's the same thing with like Diet Coke. They say like, if you drink a bunch of Diet Cokes, you'll be fat or something. But it's because it's the type of person, like the type of parent that's going to read to their kids is also going to make them do their homework when they're older and like, force them to, you know what I mean? So it's like flawed. Yeah. And the type of person who's going to slam 12 Diet Cokes a day is not that worried about the rest of their health as opposed to somebody who won't drink any soda.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably have a diet of hot dogs and pizza or some shit.
Something crazy.
I don't like Diet Coke, just for the record.
You don't?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm probably the only one. I'm a real Diet Coke
your whole family
fiend. Yeah, it's genetic for me. I couldn't avoid it. My mom drank Diet Coke when I was in the womb, and I became a Diet Coke baby. Addicted from an early age.
They bring their own Diet Coke with them when they come here.
Yeah,
we always have it, and they bring their own like bag of Diet Coke with them.
She is like an addict because she's worried.
Just in case,
that what if they don't? But what if they don't? It's like, oh no, I'll have it. It's like, yeah, but what if you don't? I better just drink it.
But what if, Andrew?
We should say hi to Karen because she's a loyal listener.
She is a loyal listener.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
You haven't had her on. You should have her on.
No, we should have her on. Yeah. She'd do two. This is
mom.
Topics.
Mom is Karen.
Yeah, my mom is Karen. Okay. Yeah, she's a real life Karen.
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, we talked. We talked about that. But no, she and like when she came on the cruise ship with me one time, and you know they have like their own soda, like system on there. You can get like an unlimited soda. And that was like the first thing. It was like with the addict, like you get on and she's like, okay, but where is, I was like, oh, I'll show you this. She's like, yeah, but I need to get that soda card like to right now. So, but she knows, she's listening, Mom, but you know, this is all things she would agree with. She has there's no discrepancy here.
Well, what do you think is worse, Coke or Diet? I mean, when I hear about soda addictions, I feel like I hear about a Diet Coke thing with people.
Yeah.
There's like a big group of people that are really hooked on Diet Coke. In fact, I know someone that drank Diet Coke all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that?
That's not me. I don't drink it all day.
No, you don't drink it all day long. But
I like 1 or 2 a day. Yeah. Probably is what I'm down.
Do people just get? I mean, is it just more accepted because it's diet? So people are like, well, okay, well, if I'm going to overindulge, it'll be this.
Yeah, I think so. And then also like it's its own universe though, because I've told Johnny this before, but like I don't even want a regular. It's not like a substitute. It's not like, oh, I wish I could have Coke all day, but instead I'll have Diet Coke. It's like I would not even have Coke if it were just like the calories the same or whatever. I wouldn't even want Coke. If you only had Coke, I wouldn't even take it because it was it doesn't taste. I was like, I'm in it for the chemically acid taste. And you also like whatever that is, that's what I like.
You also hate Coke Zero. Like that disgusts
because Coke Zero is too close to regular Coke. They got it too close.
It's just like Coke.
It's not just like Coke.
Like it better.
It's not. It's not just like Coke.
Well, I mean, I don't drink soda,
but it's better.
But
Andrew claims that he could tell the difference between Coke and Diet Coke just by looking at the can.
No. Yeah, that's
true.
Clever.
That's how much of an expert I am. Just by the label itself.
I imagine the Diet Coke is helping you though, as far as
what, staying awake.
Just
well, we're big coffee drinkers too in the morning, and then it's actually probably hurting me because I'm trying to work in naps. The way it's been working, it's like I'm doing the 2 a.m. getting up, and so I'm trying to do the nap in the afternoon, but it's hard for me to sleep during daylight hours. So probably should cut it out. Speaking of which, Heidi is just going to help raise our baby for a few minutes.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, as far as that, you hear a lot like, sleep when you can, sleep when they sleep.
I know.
Such bullshit because I could never do it. I just couldn't do it.
Well, right. And then there's other things you have to do.
You have to do so much other. Yeah.
So when they're
and you can't do anything when they're up because you're
right.
Yeah.
Johnny, how long did you before you went anywhere, like on the road, or did you know what I mean, like left?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, with the third baby, I was left with all 3 in our apartment in LA 2 weeks after she was born.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a cruise. That was a cruise.
Oh, 2 weeks?
For 2 weeks?
For 2 weeks.
Wow. And what did you think of that, Erin?
Well, I mean, it wasn't my first rodeo. Like I was often left, with the older 2, but man, you add that third child in the mix, and I don't think I've ever been more irritable, more stressed.
Yeah.
It was a very hard time.
Yeah.
Of
course.
But
Johnny, how was it for you on the
I survived.
I mean, you must have been missing your children and to be away like that. And they make you do a lot of shows. I don't think you understand
and when he would call, I would get, oh my God, when he goes away, I can't help it, but I get really agitated when he calls me. I know he's checking in. But,
what, FaceTime?
Oh my God. And it's like a few times a day. Yeah. And it's just so much hard. It makes things harder because I'm trying to balance the kids and then having him talk to the kids and trying to catch him up on everything. And it's just so busy. And I remember one time I was trying to get the kids off to school, and I had Phoebe, Edie, and Duncan. We're trying to get out for the day. And here he is calling at like 7:30 or 8 in the morning. And I was just not paying attention, and I'm trying to balance the phone and the diaper bag and the kids' backpacks and them, and Edie's finger. I shut the front door on Edie's finger, and it was, oh my God, I was mad at Johnny for that because I was like, this is too much. So
it's his fault.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm in Playa del Carmen taking pictures with Andrew.
Right.
Yeah.
I just hung up, picked up my Switch, back to Zelda.
No, I've noticed that with like comics. So I've been on those ships for a while. I'm just on the road in general, and you work with comics who've had kids or families for a long time, and you do hear like this. I've always thought about it. It's like, okay, well, how is this going to be if I have kids? Mm-hmm. And you see how different people handle it in different situations. So I was always curious, like,
And I remember we weren't even married. I don't think we were even married yet, going with you on a cruise and seeing the older comic on there talking kind of shit about his wife. And like how they never.
Well, on stage or like just
on stage in a very like, you know, we don't have sex unless whatever, blah, 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 fill in the blank. And I was like, ugh, that's never going to be me, you know? And so, yeah.
The other thing that you see a lot of, well, like, and this goes both ways. Sometimes it's reasonable, but I would always notice comics would get like texts or like things like the pipe burst in the basement or whatever. And then they're in the middle of Mexico and it's like, all right, I don't know what I can do.
Yeah.
Like the refrigerator just broke. I was with you when that happened.
That's right.
Oh, God. Anything I can do to make him feel guilty.
Oh, that was brutal.
I'm not hiding that shit. I'm letting him know every fucking thing that happens.
Yeah.
But
should I not swear? I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is actually for children, sweetheart.
I'm sorry.
I broke the seal, I think, when Heidi called my dad a fuckface. He's like, you senile old bastard. You're not that old. No, but when we were, that's something I've done with Heidi too, in both ways. It's true, but it's also I play it up. You always have to play up how hard the travel is, because you can never make it sound too good. So like, remember, I did a military tour one time, but it was like through Europe. It was like the cushiest gig ever, and it was all these like. But then I really had to go on and on. I was like, yeah, but we're in France, we're in Greece, we're in Italy, and it's like, yeah, but it's like you're just there for a day, and then it's traveling, and the shows are hard, and you're not sleeping. It's like you can never like go, oh my God, it was like a once in a lifetime experience.
Erin, have you and the kids ever gone on one of the ships, or have you ever thought about that?
No.
She has zero
I
interest.
Never will go on a cruise ship.
Yeah,
ever.
You just don't like cruises.
I've never been. I assume that I don't, but I don't like. I get motion sickness, and he will like.
She vomited about 19 times on the little boat that takes you to the Catalina Island.
You know the ferry that you can take from
The
LA
little ferry.
to Catalina.
We never did it, but I know what you're talking about.
Long Beach. Oh, I was sicker than a dog.
Yeah.
So nope.
Well, I was really scared before I first did a cruise that like I'd be like that too, but.
You were though. I mean, you.
No, I know.
That on cruises you were really queasy.
Yeah, I've taken like. What's the thing you take?
Dramamine?
Yeah, Dramamine, like maybe twice. I'll take it like twice in a 2-week thing, just if it gets really rocky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On those bigger ships, it is a lot better.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I want to be able to be in charge of what I do.
I agree.
I want to have flexibility there.
Yeah.
Heidi was very skeptical the first time.
Well, because I'd been on a cruise before. Right. And I don't like the idea that you're just like in a place for a day and they drop you off at the tourist trap places and then right back. And the big part of it's like, I don't know. Yeah.
But you
I went for 2 weeks with him like 4 years ago or something. And the first week I was like judging all the people. I'm like, look at all these idiots, blah, blah,
Yeah.
And by the second week, I was the most relaxed I think I've ever been in my entire life. She was at
the Mr. Sexy Legs competition.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get to the thing by 3 o'clock because they're going to be doing Scrabble and the.
So you need 2 weeks, and then you can. And then I was like really sad to leave. Yeah.
And
I prefer to go to one place and like really explore.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you just kind of embraced it. You let go and just said, I'm here, and I imagine I would do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would just stay to myself a lot. I think I'm not sure that I would love the clientele on cruise ships. If you know what I mean.
That was my.
If you know what I mean. We all know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, and then also it can get a little dark when you start talking to the other people who work on the cruise ship and they've been on there for 8 months or whatever, and they haven't seen their family. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I'm really sorry. This feels sad.
How about right now when they're literally
and they're stuck
still on there floating around, not allowed to like leave the ship.
And they're so like smiling and still like trying to make sure that everybody's happy and
real bummer.
Yeah.
Well, but anyway. So hey.
Who has a topic?
Who has a topic? Who needs?
That was good pre-show banter. That was extensive pre-show banter.
Oh yeah.
Extensive, record-breaking, but great pre-show banter.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a topic. I don't know if it's the one we want to start with, but does everyone have a topic?
Let's do it.
I think everyone's got one, and we'll just go, and then we'll see.
All right, I'll let you guess mine.
Is it Elf on a Shelf?
Fuck. Is that fun?
Sorry. I thought you were just gonna say guess mine. And it's like what?
Well,
what are they gonna base it
hints.
on? Oh, okay. Okay, you didn't say anything.
So I know it's past Christmas and everything, but
we don't let that stop us from talking about it.
Yeah. This was, and my mom, aka Gigi, is wonderful, and she gives us so much help, and we are so grateful to her and for her. But she blessed us this year, and when I say blessed, I mean blessed with quotation marks, with Elf on the Shelf. So she brought it over.
Yeah, that is something you want to consult the parents with.
To our kids without consulting us, without talking to us about it.
Oh yeah, because now you have a homework assignment.
We have a new traditional assignment. You have to do it every year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly loathe Elf on the Shelf.
Okay, so I don't fully understand how it works. It's that it moves every day.
Yeah, you gotta hide it every night.
Every night you gotta hide it. Okay.
Because he's observing the kids. Yeah. Then he's going reporting it to Santa. Then he comes back and hides somewhere else.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Got it.
He's a real snitch.
And it seems very sweet, right? But
it just screams Hallmark.
It's not only the effort that you have to put into it, and having 3 kids and whatever. Obviously, we forgot a few times.
Quite a few times.
And I'm sure we're not alone in that. But it's also the idea that it makes the whole trying to maintain the story of Santa, it makes it hard because Elf on the Shelf is it's like in their face all the time.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
It's in their face all the time. And then, we'll be at Target and he's like, look, there's like a whole wall of Elf on the Shelf. And you have to somehow explain it to her like, yep, well, so when you get it, it just comes alive and all this stupid shit that you have to make up for it.
Yeah, you have to say those are fake ones, and then yours comes alive. Like the magic comes in once you name it.
Yes, I just feel like it gives all the magic away, or it just makes it too
convoluted and
convoluted is a good word for that.
It's funny, you're trying to behave in front of the elf because of the report. And then the first time you walk into Target and you see like 500 of those, you're like, Jesus Christ, I gotta be on the best behavior of all time. Look how many of these guys there are.
Yeah.
And you think that, but I mean,
it's an army of spies.
Before sprinkles came along, you're still like, you better be good because Santa's watching. That never works. It still doesn't work because the kid is going to be the kid.
Right. They're going to call your bluff. They'll be like, one time, let me see you actually put coal in the stocking.
Right.
Yeah, instead of presents. Like, how heartless would you have to be?
Right.
I guess there was a rumor that my sister got coal one year when I was like really little. And it turns out she did, but it was, it was just a little coal in the stocking, but she also got tons of presents.
It was like a prank.
Okay. And was it just a joke, or had she actually done something?
I don't know. I think they caught her smoking or something.
Well,
I don't know what it was. I was too little. That's just what the story has become.
So what I think you need to do is come up with like some sort of, because you don't. The thing is you don't want to have to do it next year, right? You got to find a way to transition out of Elf on the Shelf.
I don't think there's no way around it.
So they love it and they remember it.
We'll just one day have it like have blood all over its face.
Yeah,
just
like you got hit by a toy truck.
Oh, she didn't even, and it wasn't even listen, it wasn't even a new Elf on the Shelf. It was a used Elf on the Shelf from half-priced fucking books. And Edie knows.
I didn't know that.
In the book, it talks about how you have to register your elf. So here, I'm looking up the app. I'm like, oh, geez.
You need
I'm looking up the app. Well,
you have to register it online.
I can't remember. And I'm trying to register this goddamn Elf on the Shelf.
Jesus.
And the number was already used, so I couldn't even register the elf. And so I had to like come up with some elaborate shit like, oh yeah, well I registered him when you were looking away for about 2 seconds. And here, see, and I'd like quick swipe to a different. It was just, it's too much. So you know
Did
what?
you tell your mom that you don't like it, or did you not say anything?
Well,
I'm
no,
sure.
I mean, I did kind of like allude to, oh, okay, well now that's another thing we got to do, you know. But it just didn't register. And so let me just tell the listeners that if you do decide to bequeath an elf on the shelf to someone, first and foremost, make sure you consult them and make sure that that is something that they want to be involved with. And then second of all, make sure it's a new elf on the shelf. Because
it's already been registered. It's supposed to be watching some other kids.
Okay, so it's probably too traumatic to like kill the elf, like you were suggesting, Johnny.
No.
But what if we could get the elf canceled some way, like attribute some horribly racist thing to
it just is not going to happen because if that
well, and their friends have one. So like they email back and forth. Oh, Sprinkles was in the tree this morning. Oh, our Sprinkles was in the fireplace.
Kind of cute.
It is okay. I get that, but there's a lot of other.
Sorry, no, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Yeah.
It's just like
Hey,
this.
Heidi, on this show, we just blindly back up. That's all we do, okay?
Where's the honesty? No, I'm with you.
So I don't know. And then it's they have just capitalized on this thing, and it's everywhere, and they're selling outfits for it, and like
I hate
there's a show, there's a movie for it.
We should come up with our own.
A
new thing. It's like because the person that came up with Elf on a Shelf has to be so rich.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like troll on a stool or something.
Yeah, troll on a stool.
Troll on a bowl.
Troll on a bowl for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
The St. Patrick's Day miracle. Kids' favorite holidays.
And that makes me think of I was laughing at myself the other day because a couple years ago my friend had a baby and I went to visit her and she was just like she was just in it, you know, and she was exhausted and I didn't know anything. And so as a gift, I brought her an orchid. And I was thinking about that the other day and I was like, I brought her something else to take care of after having a baby. Like that's so
you have to water this 8 times a day.
Stupid. Yeah. This very sensitive plant. I'm sure
ounces.
she never even touched it, you know. So
well, and I think orchids are it's just kind of understood that you get them and then they just die. Because who can really keep an orchid alive? I never could.
Enjoy it for a week and then
I never could.
Yeah.
It's sweet. I mean it's something pretty to look at and kind of take her mind off of I don't know. I'm trying to help you here, but
thank you. I like you blindly supporting me. Thank you.
Yeah.
She gets it.
Yeah. I mean, I think a great postpartum. I mean, anything like alcohol.
Yeah. And food. Our block.
Food.
Have you talked about this?
No.
Oh yeah.
Our block did a whole meal train.
Oh.
I mean, like over the top, and like each person had it was like they were trying to outdo each other and different gifts with
That's
each.
so nice.
I mean, it was incredible.
You really don't know how limited your like meals are because you know it's quarantine. We've been eating at home a ton.
Yeah.
You don't realize how limited your repertoire is until you start eating other people's home cooked meals.
Oh.
And they got all these other elaborate recipes and you're like, gee, man, we are like hobos, you know?
Yeah.
Well, remember that's their like top.
That's what I was thinking.
Not like
I was
bringing
like,
you.
I asked Heidi, I was like, what would be our if like somebody else had a baby, God forbid somebody on this block has a baby and we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
But what would be your meal if you had to make someone a meal? What's your go-to?
Orange chicken.
I couldn't even.
Or a lemon chicken. Lemon chicken.
No, are you kidding?
That's so good. That's my favorite meal she makes.
Yeah. No, like when your friends moved us from LA.
Yeah.
I made everybody a big pan of enchiladas because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just so
Yeah,
easy
yeah, yeah.
and you can
Somebody-
cook them.
And it was really good. It was a great
Yeah.
one to deliver. Yeah,
And
yeah.
the reheatability is good.
Yes. That's huge too.
Yeah. Yep. That's
good
what I
one.
would do.
I don't even know what ours would be.
Ours, because we just cook for each other. We don't have a lot of like serve a lot of people stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
All right, so Heidi, what's yours? You got a topic?
Oh,
Heidi's got one, right?
Yeah. Well, I had the one that we talked about, but I think I'm gonna go a different way.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Calling an audible.
What?
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
So, I just have got like now we have to the little bit that we have to go out into the world and talk to people. You know, just through the whole pandemic, it's like my social, I don't know, just dealing with people out in the world has gotten harder for me. And then now we have to go to these doctor's appointments, and people are just annoying me more than they ever used to, because I was just used to being around people all the time. So I was used to people just saying dumb things, but now I'm so sensitive to it that it really bothers me. Have you guys experienced this at all?
When people say stupid things, what do you mean?
So like, here's an example. We went to the pediatrician today and it went great, and she's healthy, and that's the main thing to take away. But
not these microaggressions.
These little things that the nurse was like, can you take her clothes off down to her diaper? So I did, and we had just changed her diaper. And then I did it, and I set her down, and she goes, go ahead and change her. And I was like, oh, change her diaper? And she was like, yeah, she pooped, change her diaper. And I was like, oh, she did? And then I changed her diaper, and she hadn't pooped. And I don't know why the lady said that, and it annoyed me, and I didn't like her attitude.
And there should be no shame.
Yeah.
In pooping.
But wasn't it a little bit? It was a little. Yeah, it's no big deal. But I was like, this is something that before COVID, I would have just been like, whatever. Who cares?
She was so confident that it happened, and then she showed no. She didn't take the L at all when she was wrong. I was like, oh my God, she didn't poop. Man, I don't know why I was so sure. I guess she farted super loud or something. I don't know. She didn't say it. She didn't own it at all.
Right. And then she weighed her, and I said, oh, what does she weigh? Because this is a big, like, to make sure she's gaining weight.
Yeah.
And she goes, it's in kilograms. I was like, oh, do you know what it's in pounds? What I meant was, like, can we figure out what it is in pounds? I just wanted to.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't have it in my head what that is. And I was like I didn't mean like that you had it in your head. I meant, can you look at the graph, or can you check the computer or whatever?
You weigh babies every day.
Yeah.
They're in this approximate range of like weights from like 7 pounds to 9, whatever. And so you're doing it in kilograms every time. Okay, fine. I didn't know we lived in Norway. I thought we lived in America. Just go ahead and do it. But whatever. And then you think you would get like pretty good at like back of the napkin math on how many,
or that she would just say
conversion rate,
or that she would just say, oh, I'll be right back, I'm going to convert it. She's like, I don't know how to just, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm nervous.
Who am I? Neil deGrasse Tyson? I can't figure this out.
But anyway, so not that big of a deal, either one of those things. But I was just like, oh man, it
bothers you more than it would.
Yeah, I like how you're like, oh, am I too irritable? It sounds like this nurse is a mega bitch.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like she's having a hard day, life, year. I mean, everybody's having a hard year, but it sounds like she was like, no, fuck this, all their happy new family bullshit. I'm just gonna, you know what I mean?
Your baby's shit, trust me.
Right. Well, and I think you're right.
You feel bad.
I think we talked about this before. I think like with customer service people, I've noticed it. I think everybody is just like here, and I'm here, and she's here, and we're all just kind of at the end of our ropes. Maybe
that's a good. Johnny made me think of something. Maybe she just always accuses the baby of shitting just on like just on the chance that she's gonna open it up on the scale and then deal with the shit. So just every time it's like, oh, I think she just pooped, and then if she didn't poop, they go, oh well, you just
whatever.
For no reason.
But she didn't even say I think. She was like, change her.
Well, I know, because you got to be firm if you want to get them to do it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That might be a strategy now that I think about it. But yeah.
I just think it's going to take a little time to transition back into just like being around people, like strangers all the time.
The other thing that happened, this was on the previous doctor's appointment, but I'm backing you up. I'm definitely more irritable with everyone all the time. I think it's being in public, you're on edge just in general, because you're like, the virus is everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other time we went to the doctor with Ginger, they asked me what I do for a living. So like, we don't have it when you get health insurance, it's like, when you go through the healthcare.gov, it's like so complicated, and you got to put in your income, and it takes a while. You can't just add her to your insurance right away. It's like a whole process with Obamacare. And so we had to do that for Ginger, and we didn't know, like, she was born. You can't do it till they're born. And then when they're born, it takes weeks to figure out. So she was like, what's her insurance? And I started going into the whole spiel. I was like, well, actually, we're not exactly sure yet. They have to assign us this thing. We're trying to get her on my wife's insurance, but it's like a complicated. She's like, okay, like very packed. Like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, come on. Now that sounds like, now I have to say I'm a comedian. And that's like, she's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
So we come home and he's feeling.
Let's bring the social worker in, It felt like an attack on him.
He came home and he was feeling sensitive about that. And then she gave me this kind of passive aggressive thing about breastfeeding and like how I need to be doing all this other stuff to be breastfeeding.
Increase the supply.
Right. So we both came home and we were feeling very judged.
Yeah, very judged. I don't know. And I was like, hey, no, things on the form where it said health insurance was like, we've got this great podcast and the numbers are picking up. All right. So that's all the insurance you're going to have to worry about.
It sounds like, is this just a small practice with a couple of nurses, or could you try to avoid this person?
Actually. With a couple of bitchy nurses?
No, so here there's like 8 doctors.
Yeah, no, it's pretty big.
And I don't know how many nurses there are. But we had the first, we should tell them about the first pediatrician, the online pediatrician appointment.
Oh.
So like 2 days after we're home, we had this online appointment. And this guy gets on and he's just like the most handsome, sunshiny, like nice. We were both like, what is this, Grey's Anatomy?
It was total TV, like.
Not just handsome, but like also like, you guys are doing so great. Like just direct eye contact. Like you guys are just killing it. She looks great. Wow. just. And I was like,
oh, he tells this to everybody. You still believe it?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
And we both kind of fell in love with him. And then the place that we actually picked to go in person is this other place. And I want to switch, but the Grey's Anatomy guy is farther.
But it was so good. That guy was so charismatic, so handsome that you almost were like, is there some sort? And we were doing it virtually. Yeah. You're almost like, is there some sort of technology that they're using where this guy is just like some sort of creation, like a virtual, and then he can just respond based on us, like he's like not even a real person.
Yeah, that's how good he was. But this is interesting. I would like to ask you guys this. So Andrew saw him and liked him, but he was skeptical of him. He's like, he's too good. He's probably not that good of a doctor. He's like, I want some.
I assume deficiency, like you're making up for, if you're that charismatic, you're making up for like.
No, skills. You want an ugly doctor for sure.
And I was like, I like, it's so worth it to me to have somebody who's very pleasant to be around in the room, who just like makes me feel good.
Bedside manner is super important, especially when you're in such a vulnerable place.
Yeah.
Having a new baby. But
But it wasn't just bedside manner. He was super hot. I'm suspicious of anything.
Yeah, no, you got to get an ugly doctor. I mean,
I want an ugly doctor. Yeah,
you don't want to. You don't want an erection during the whole appointment.
Right.
How rare is that to have a hot, like male or female? It's kind of rare, isn't it?
Yeah, but it does seem like attractiveness levels in doctors is higher with pediatricians. I've noticed that because I think it's like the most like sought after field, and then like they do the. Attractive people just seem to be more successful in life or something. I don't know. But you don't like think about it really. Like think of like some sort of specialist, like I don't know what. But they're not as I'm just okay. I can't prove it right now, but if anybody listening to my voice, go ahead and Google any type of field of doctors and put them up against pediatricians, just random sample. I'm taking pediatricians on pure attractiveness every time. How about that?
Have you experienced that?
Ooh, that's a good.
Aren't plastic surgeons always so?
No, maybe.
Or supposedly.
But they usually look like they've had stuff done. I don't.
Yeah.
Like
they've had too much. High on their own supply a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. My proctologist.
Pretty handsome.
He's very well. I don't know. He just always talks about how I have such a handsome butthole.
Well, so anyway, do you guys agree with me?
I was just thinking in my head, okay, that'll be the title of this one. I
That's why I said it.
Yeah, you guys are with Heidi on this, right?
Are you talking about?
Well, that everyone's pissing you off out in the world.
Oh,
yes.
That part.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I found that my social anxiety has just like skyrocketed.
But that's a COVID thing, not a new mom thing, right?
Well, you're facing both. Yeah. What? Did you have? So I was gonna say like, yeah, COVID, new baby.
Yeah.
Because I was experiencing
it. Yeah.
I was experiencing it before. And then, now added the stakes of having a baby and wanting to feel like you're doing it right. You know, it's so important.
Yeah.
And being tired and all those things. Yeah, I think it's both. Also,
I think everything's like fight or flight right now. You know what I mean?
Like
for everybody's kind of out for themselves.
They have you fill out these. Sorry, this is going on too long. Should I stop talking?
Keep going.
I just had a baby, so don't tell me to shut up, okay? No, but they have you fill out every single time, like from the time I found out I was pregnant, they have you fill out like a mental health thing about like how you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like even if I wasn't pregnant or even if I didn't just have a baby, this is really hard. And I've been like very honest on these forms. Like, have you felt down in the last couple of weeks? And it's like, yeah, you know?
Yeah.
And then they like say, oh, you know, you did have a few higher. I'm like, well, this is a really hard time without a baby, without anything, you know?
I remember I went to therapy one time and
you did one time.
You ever go to therapy and in LA they would have these iPads and you'd fill in all these things like how many drinks a week do you have and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was just honest, you know. I just said like how many drinks and I was like, oh, no one else is honest on these things, you know. They they go down. And so then they like, because I think I said I had like average like 4 drinks a week or something, like 2 drinks a night, a couple nights a week, something like that.
Yeah.
I thought I was even lowballing it just a little bit, but I was like, whatever. And then this thing, I was like, oh, we're going to give you can have access to alcohol counseling, all that stuff. I'm like, are you serious? Do you know the people out there? This is Hollywood, baby. Come on. Like, what are you talking about?
This is Hollywood, baby.
I mean,
this is Hollywood, baby.
Alcohol counseling. So anyway. You can't be honest. You can't be too honest on. And then with the number systems, like how sad are you? Are you 5 sad? Are you 7? It's like so relative. Like I don't know how to describe.
It does discourage you from being honest, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, I think everybody's irritable. You know.
Well, you just get irritable and you're out and you're like, because you have to put all this effort just to be safe and be careful, and then you see people that are just like being idiots. It's frustrating.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of going out in public, so I'm doing a New Year's show tomorrow at a casino, and I just want to read you the email that I got from the booker. This was to all the comedians. This is not what you want to read to get you excited going into a show. Hey, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to remind you that the show this New Year's Eve starts at 9, but arrive early to check in. Please email us after, let us know how it went, and get in front of any problems that you may have encountered. Again, we recognize that the casino has not made it very conducive for comedy, and understand that you will simply do the best with what you are given. Jeez. I want to read. Scott was like, you should read that on stage. I think if it's just a shit show train wreck, I'm going to pull that out and be like, wow, the booker knew what I was getting into.
It's so funny that that's the way you choose to address problems. You're like, let's not try and solve.
Yeah, don't solve it. We have time.
Let's just warn the comedians
to deal with them.
Yeah. It's like when comedy clubs will say like, hey, in the itinerary, they'll say, do not make fun of the leaky pipe behind the stage. Every comedian makes fun of that leaky pipe. It's not funny. It's like, just fix the damn pipe then, and no one will make fun. Wouldn't that be the thing?
Yeah.
Anyway. Johnny, do you have a need backup?
Yeah, you know what I do? I always need backup. All right. So I guess since Erin's here, I'll just bring this. I'll just do this one. It's just about people. This is not you specifically. No, it's you and other people. But it's like, did I even bring this? I feel like I wonder if I brought this up when people. Did I even say this last week about when people are like, "Oh, it's just 5 minutes away. It's just 5 minutes away."
No.
It's a 5 minute. You got time. You got plenty of time. It's a 5-minute drive, and I time it. I have timed it. It's 12 minutes. It's 12 minutes.
What place, are you talking about a place specifically?
The church. Yes. When we had to go, I was so Edie had her confession preparation thing, and so we had to be at the church at, I don't know, 6:30 or whatever. You know, so I'm like, okay, well, we'll go at 6:10. You're going to be sitting in the parking lot. It's 5 minutes. So what are you going to do for the half hour while you're waiting? I don't know. Not be stressed because I'm 10 minutes late. But your mom does the same thing. Your mom did that. You're like, oh, you got to meet up. Let's meet in the middle. We'll meet in the middle. It's 45 minutes from your house. I'm like, okay, send me the address. And then as soon as she texts me the address, I look it up. An hour and 7 minutes. And this was one where I had to leave, one of our Zoom shows. Like I had to do my set, get in the car, run to pick up the kids. So it it cut into her. I mean, I was late, her appointment. She couldn't start her hair appointment. But that's because that's on her. She said it's 45. It's, okay.
Yeah, but you have said, like, I don't know where you were going. I think
yes,
it was
I do. I have a history of getting places ridiculously early.
Insane. And if I'm involved and I have to be the one getting there that early with you, that's when I'm.
Well, you always complain because, like, I'll get there. I'll get to a gig. Like, it's a 4-hour gig. I'll get there, like, way early or whatever. And then I'll just be in the parking lot bored. So I'll call Erin. And she's like, Are you bored? Why are you calling me? Are you bored because you left 2 hours too early? Is that what's happening? Because I have the kids here. So,
see, this goes back to the beginning.
But isn't it better to be on a car ride? Like, wouldn't you rather, like, let's say you got to drive 4 hours somewhere. Wouldn't you rather know you have a cushion as opposed to, oh, shit, I don't have time to get gas. I don't have time to eat. I got to get to the show.
Yeah. I'm with you, Johnny.
And if anything's in Madison, it's 5 minutes away.
I'm more of a get to the airport, for instance. I'm much more like, just get there early.
Like really early.
We
have the same dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't want to get there early.
Well, I don't want to get there earlier than what the regular early is.
Sure.
Yeah, but with an airport's a terrible example because you never know. You could be anywhere from only needing 10 minutes if it's a lucky time to, we're here an hour early and we might not make our flight because it's super packed.
An hour and a half to 2 hours is ideally what you want for the airport.
We have never been 2 hours.
2 hours before?
No,
yeah.
No.
Well, it depends on the airport.
We don't aim for that.
An hour and a half to 2 hours?
An hour and a half is what
I don't like to go less than an hour and a half. I don't.
Heidi, would you say that with your time windows that you still, even though we're not getting there incredibly early, we're still getting there on time?
Yes.
Are we not?
I mean, I will acknowledge that sometimes there's a little bit of like, are we going to be a little bit late? Yeah. I can acknowledge that, but there are a lot of times, where it's just, or it's things that we talk about this, like with your family. Your family is very prompt and very on time, but like a lot of times on time or early for things that you don't need to be early or on time for. You know what I mean? Like there's no time that you have to be there.
That's true. My mom will be
and I'm very much like, let's go with the wind and just get up. We'll eat breakfast. We'll enjoy ourselves and we'll be present and we'll get there when we get there. And with your family, it's very much like the night before. And it gives me anxiety. It's like, okay, we got to get up at 4 and then we got to be ready. And then we have to be there before the thing opens. And then, and I get stressed out about it.
No, my mom will do this thing where she'll be like, it'll just be the people in the house. So like me and Heidi, maybe my brothers, my parents. And I'm like, let's go out to dinner. We'll go at 6, but there's no reservation. There's nothing. It's just like us. And we're just going self-contained as a group to dinner. And it'll be like 5 foot. So come on, we're going to be late. Late for who? There's no one. We're not meeting anyone there. There's no reservation. No. We said 6. And you're like, this is all. It's the concept that we created. So that'll give you backup on. Yeah. I don't know if it's your turn to be backed up.
No,
it's Johnny's turn.
I didn't try to take it. I didn't try to take it, but I was just,
I guess I don't even know what my angle was, just as far as what I needed specific backup on. Just acknowledgement that.
Yeah.
Sometimes in general,
I am guilty of doing that. And part of the reason I'm guilty of doing it is because I don't want to disappoint the other person and have them think that have them change their mind about going to do the thing. Like, let's go do this thing. It's only 5 minutes away. Whereas if I say it's 15, 20 minutes away, he might not want to go do it.
Oh, yeah. But I do think the thing you're talking about, Johnny, the limiting the stress, you're like, I'd rather be early because you're not stressed out about being early. That is valuable, like not being stressed out. So I'm with you on that.
It is.
Well, also, it's like, it's after dinner time. It's like, you guys, why are you guys leaving so early? Go sit on the couch and stare at each other for 10 minutes and wait until you're almost late and then go.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we're,
writing
out of anything.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm there.
I'm with you.
All right. Take that, Erin.
I'm also with Erin. I'm with both of you.
Wait a minute. I'm not supposed to say that. Okay, well, I'll go quick. This has been a good episode, so I'll just.
Why do you have to go quick? Okay, why do you have to go quick? Like, what are you late for? I mean, what is our?
Well, this isn't the Joe Rogan podcast.
I mean, no, I listen to lots of podcasts that go on as long as they go on. I mean,
people have grown accustomed to a very orderly,
we don't want to confuse our fan base.
5 to 1 hour max. We
but they can stop when they want to stop. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Sorry, I always come in.
This is her only adult time. Right?
Okay.
Like, you just haven't.
We hung out with his parents the other night, and like everyone was getting tired, and I was like, "Let's stay up." I was like, "You guys are my friends." Yeah.
You have plenty of adult time. You have that. You have hanging out with my parents. And you have yelling at nurses. You have
a lot of adult interaction.
Yeah.
I mostly said I'm going to go quick because mine's really stupid, but I actually believe it. So. We were talking about the cruise ship earlier, and something you'll see a lot on the cruise ship are heavier people in rascal scooters, they'll
yes,
they don't want to walk around. It's harder to walk around. And I watch the show 600 Pound Life. My 600 Pound Life, sometimes the 600 pound person can't get around, so they'll ride a rascal scooter. It's great.
Right. Yeah, you brought it up on that episode where you talk about how you wish you were 600 pounds.
Yeah.
You could lose the weight. Yeah.
Wait, have I already talked about this? No, not the scooter part, I don't think.
Yeah, no.
He really loves that show.
You really watch that? Like,
oh yeah, it's very inspiring.
It's not. It's so sad and depressing. But
I like to imagine, like, if I were 600 pounds, and I was like, wow, this would be like a huge and like a good noble goal. Anyway, so the point is that you'll see on the cruise ship these same people who do not have a rascal scooter at home. On the ship, they'll be granted a rascal scooter to get from location. Yeah. It's not fun. I'm not making fun of them.
I know.
It's a good thing.
They're granted.
My point is that what's the difference between like a wheelchair and a rascal scooter? Really, not much. It's just the kind of the design of the thing. And a wheelchair is like something that you sit, and it's like. But it's what it signifies to people. So I think what they did is they branded the rascal scooter to be like, hey, you're not like disabled. You just want a little help getting around from place to place. But if I were 600 pounds, I would not want a rascal scooter because it would just signify to everyone like this is kind of like kind of a choice that of convenience. I'd be like, give me the wheelchair and let other people go. We don't know what the ailment is here. And they wouldn't make, assumptions about my health situation. They go, maybe he's got knee replacement surgery. They don't know why that I'm in the wheelchair. You know what I mean? Get more respect. Because if you see a wheelchair at like a crosswalk or something, you're stopping 1,000 times out of 1,000. If you see a rascal scooter, I don't know, you might think about it. No, you'll stop but it's a little less courteous, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You get more annoyed if you see a big person on like a motorized scooter. You're just like, oh, hurry up. Whereas in a wheelchair, you're like, oh, yeah.
Right. Or like if you're in line at the buffet, right? And you're behind someone on a rascal scooter, you're given less respect. You might be trying to cut around more. But if it's a wheelchair, way more respect. So I would want the wheelchair. That's what I'm saying.
But then you're very limited. So the beauty of a Hoveround or Rascal is that you are able to get to more places. Do you remember that commercial?
They're at the Grand Canyon.
They scoot up to the Grand
Hoveround. Yeah. But there's nowhere you could take a Hoveround that you couldn't take a wheelchair, is my point.
I just have to say this is the most specific topic we've ever needed backup on.
Well, that's why I said it could be quick.
No, a wheelchair, you're using your arms.
Yeah.
Or they have motorized ones. They have motorized ones.
That's a Rascal.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It's all branding. It's like changing.
Oh.
You know, they have
Rascals are cool.
Ones. Yeah, Rascals are for, you know.
like a Vespa.
I was like, oh, look at him. He's got a motorcycle for the inside of the ship.
It's like you're in a gang.
Yeah.
I think part of my issue with the cruises is like that the Rascal thing does make me feel kind of depressed because it makes me feel like this person's here because they're like filling a void or something. Right?
But a wheelchair I can inspiring.
See. Or a wheelchair is like, well, there could be a whole lot of things.
You get sympathy, whereas a Vespa or a Hoveround.
Yeah. I haven't seen the commercial.
You haven't seen the one where they go to the Grand Canyon? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that's great.
Oh, they're the best.
I hover around, and it is kind of, and they're doing like figure eights and stuff, and then they go to the Grand, and then it's like you can go anywhere, and they're at the Grand Canyon.
Yes. Well, I guess. Oh gosh, now I just lost my thought. But with like the Vespa or Hoveround, it's almost like the general public is like, ugh, well, that's why you're fat because you're not.
Judgment.
It's a Rascal. It's not a Vespa. Vespa is for hipsters.
Sorry, I meant the Rascal or the Hoveround. Rascal, yes.
But a big fat guy on a Vespa is also going to get a lot of judgment, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't understand what's the backup you need exactly. You want us to agree with?
Okay, here's what
they should prefer wheelchairs over the Vespa.
Yes. Imagine yourself at 600 pounds, and then you're in a situation where they're offering you help. You're like, okay, you want help to get around whatever place, you know, the maybe you show up at the Grand Canyon. They're like, oh, you're 600 pounds. To help you enjoy the Grand Canyon, we've got these things, you know, which is great. They should have those things, be ADA compliant or whatever. But what I need backup on is that I would choose the old-fashioned, motorized or otherwise, wheelchair, because I think I would get less judgment and people would get judgment.
I totally agree.
Okay.
But I imagine that they're limited in a wheelchair because it's two wheels versus the, you know.
Oh, is the Rascal four-wheel drive?
I think the Rascal has more of a fun vibe when you're driving.
Yeah, you get a basket.
That's all branding.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But
Perception.
I've been in a wheelchair before when I fell off the rope swing, and people look down on you and they feel sorry for you. Whereas if you're in the Rascal thing, it's like, oh well, this is a choice. They could get up and walk at any time if they wanted to.
But if you could go back in time, you would have gone Rascal over the wheelchair.
I mean, I was 18.
I think.
I don't think you would. See, that's my point. Because you wouldn't.
Well, but I also had like a real injury. I wasn't.
I think a very specific and important detail is that they're 600 pounds. Like that's.
Yeah. It's
different than like if you have if you have a broken ankle, do you want a Vespa or a Rascal versus a wheelchair? Is different than. You're 600 pounds. Do you want a Rascal or a wheelchair?
But I'm saying, even in your situation at 18, back then, I still think you want wheelchair more than you want a Hoveround. Just because of the judgment. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, because a Rascal, it looks like you're choosing to do that. Yeah.
And if they don't happen to see your broken feet, they just go, there goes a very lazy 18-year-old.
Yeah. Maybe
they just want, it's cooler looking.
Yeah.
You know, they get to put a little license plate on the back and have a basket up front. You know, like maybe it's about their image and like, you know, already being 600 pounds, you're already getting people looking at you all the time.
I know.
And then to be in a wheelchair on top of that, you know.
The wheelchair is definitely more medical. It feels more medical, whereas the Rascal or the Hoveround feels more like a lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's my point, I guess, is that I want people to assume it's a medical thing and not like a.
But you know what? Just regular older people use Rascals too. So what if you're just like 80 and you don't get around as well? You still would prefer the wheelchair, and you're not 600. You're not 600 pounds. Oh,
wheelchair.
I don't know.
I think it's safe to say that if you're 600 pounds, wheelchair or Rascal, people are going to assume there's some medical problem.
Well, yeah, that's
happening.
True.
Yeah.
So what about at a grocery store, Andrew? Is the same hold true? Because you see, you know, older people on the Rascals at the grocery store.
Right.
You prefer a wheelchair?
Yeah, the only
grocery store
at the grocery store is they have the little basket on the front, and so that's very convenient. But I still think I would rather go wheelchair. But you know,
I think at this point, I think it really comes down to that they don't give a fuck what people think about how they look.
That's true.
They're at that point. They're just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna do what I need to do.
So if Andrew gains weight, goes on a cruise, he'll be like, you know what? Can you give me a wheelchair? And I actually brought this neck brace that I put on myself just to add on the touch.
I guess there's only one way for me to find out, as I'm gonna have to gain.
You really are curious about that.
To find out how this is gonna be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll be a better doctor than that guy on that show. They really exploit the people on that show. It's pretty bad.
Well, we don't have to get into.
We don't have to. Andrew's favorite
TV
doctor.
We can say that for another episode. This was great.
Yeah, this was good.
Good episode.
Does everyone feel backed up?
I don't really, but that's okay. I was going out on a limb.
I back you up. I'm on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anyone has any good ideas on how to kill Bill, so to speak, with sprinkles, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Send
it in.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Maybe we put the elf in a wheelchair, and then you go, hey, he doesn't get around so good anymore. He's kind of going to be in this one spot for all of Christmas. It's easier. It's the only.
His Rascal ran out of battery.
Yeah. Yeah. Try that. I don't know. All right. Well, thank you, Erin. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you
for coming on the Cavalry. Thanks for listening, everybody. And
it was fun.
Leave a 5-star
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. We made it. If we do make it.
Nothing bad can happen in 2021.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
It's all up.
Cheers.
Troubles are over. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to
The Cavalry.